Hello. Uh, Welcome back, beautiful soul. Before we dive in, take a deep breath. What you're about to hear might confirm what you've been sensing. Trust yourself. So, Virgo, let's begin. Uh, Someone's eyes have been on you longer than you realize, tracking your movements from the periphery, not casually, not accidentally, with the kind of focus that borders on consumption. They're memorizing you without permission. The way you laugh when you think no one important is watching, the small gestures you make when you're focused, the energy you carry when you're just existing instead of performing. They're collecting these details like artifacts, building a museum of you in their mind. And here's what makes this dangerous and intoxicating in equal measure: they never meant to care this much. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't supposed to happen. Let me pull back the veil on what's brewing in shadows. Obsession begins quietly. It doesn't announce itself with grand gestures or declarations. It starts as curiosity, then interest, then preoccupation. Then suddenly they're thinking about you in moments that have nothing to do with you. You're the thought that interrupts other thoughts, the face that appears unbidden, the name that echoes when they're trying to focus on literally anything else. And they hate it as much as they crave it, because obsession feels like losing control, like being hijacked by something stronger than logic or intention, like wanting something so badly that the wanting itself becomes the thing that possesses you. Your presence in their mental landscape has grown from visitor to occupier. You've taken territory they didn't mean to surrender. And now they don't know how to evict you without causing structural damage to themselves. Some people fight this feeling hard. They tell themselves stories about why you're not that special, why this intensity is ridiculous, why they should redirect their attention to someone more available or appropriate or less complicated. But the stories don't work. The discipline fails. And eventually they stop fighting and start watching. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider: whose energy have you been sensing on you without understanding why? You might have noticed someone's attention feeling heavier than normal interaction warrants, the way they track you in group settings, how their body orients toward you even when they're supposedly engaged elsewhere, the quality of silence when you speak that suggests they're not just listening but absorbing. Or maybe you haven't noticed at all. Maybe they're skilled at masking, at appearing casual when internally they're anything but, at maintaining composure while everything underneath churns. Some watchers are obvious. Their hunger shows. Their desire leaks through every attempted neutral expression. You can feel their want like heat across a room. But others are phantom observers. They've learned to hide their obsession so well that you remain completely unaware you're being studied like scripture by someone who's found religion in your existence. The silence of their watching is strategic, because speaking would reveal the depth, would expose how far this has gone beyond reasonable interest into territory that feels almost shameful in its intensity. They're holding back a flood behind a dam that's developing cracks. This reflection invites you to consider: if someone revealed they've been obsessed with you in silence, would you feel flattered or frightened? There's something specific about desire that's been denied expression. It doesn't dissipate, it concentrates, becomes denser, more potent. Like wine aging in darkness, the wanting just gets stronger the longer it's contained. This person has been marinating in their desire for you, letting it steep, and what started as attraction has transformed into something more complex, more layered, more difficult to dismiss as passing interest. They want you in ways they haven't fully admitted to themselves yet, want access to you, want your attention, want to matter to you the way you've come to matter to them without their consent. But more than the wanting itself, they want to stop wanting because this level of desire is exhausting when it's unreciprocated or unexpressed. It's a weight carried in secret, a hunger that can't be satisfied through watching alone, but watching is all they're allowing themselves. Some people find this kind of intensity romantic, the idea of someone consumed by desire for them, obsessed, unable to think of anything else. It feels like being chosen, like mattering profoundly. But intensity without outlet becomes dangerous, not necessarily in violent ways, but in the way it can distort perception, make someone imagine connection that doesn't exist, project reciprocation onto neutral friendliness. Your kindness might have been interpreted as encouragement. Your attention during normal interaction might have been read as signal. Your existence might have been enough to build entire fantasies around. This reflection invites you to consider: have you been accidentally feeding someone's obsession through ordinary kindness? Let me describe what a move they didn't plan to make means. Control is slipping, the dam is cracking, the silence is becoming unbearable, and they're approaching a moment where desire overrides caution. They're going to reach out, confess, create a situation where their feelings become impossible to ignore, not because they want to necessarily, but because the alternative, continuing to suffer in silence, has become untenable. Some moves are calculated, planned, strategic. You decide what you want, formulate an approach, execute with intention. Those moves come from empowerment. But this move is coming from desperation, from the breaking point where restraint fails and raw need takes over. They might text you something too revealing, show up somewhere they shouldn't be, say something that exposes more than they meant to expose, make their attention so obvious that plausible deniability evaporates. And in that moment, everything changes. Because once obsession is revealed, there's no returning to the casual dynamic you thought existed. The secret is out. The watching is exposed. And you have to decide how to respond to someone who's been consuming you from the shadows. This unplanned move is going to feel clumsy, too much, overwhelming in its intensity, because they haven't practiced restraint. They've been all or nothing in private. And when they finally express externally what they've been feeling internally, the volume will be jarring. This reflection invites you to consider: if someone revealed they've been obsessed with you, could you receive that information without making them feel pathetic? There's something important about the difference between healthy interest and obsessive fixation. Healthy interest allows space, respects boundaries, can tolerate uncertainty about whether feelings are reciprocated without spiraling, views you as human, complex, allowed to have dimensions that don't include them. Obsession collapses space, struggles with boundaries, needs constant reassurance, or descends into anxiety. views you as object of fixation, one-dimensional, existing primarily in relation to their desire. This person watching you might be operating in that second category. And if they are, their move when it comes might feel less like invitation and more like demand. Like they've already decided you belong to them and they're just informing you of a relationship that exists in their mind but not in reality. Some people romanticize being desired this intensely until they experience what it actually feels like to be the subject of someone's obsession. Then it stops feeling flattering and starts feeling suffocating. You might discover their attention isn't the gift you thought it would be, that being wanted this badly comes with pressure you didn't anticipate, that their desire for you has nothing to do with actual you and everything to do with the version they've constructed from observation and fantasy. Or you might discover it's exactly what you've been waiting for. Someone finally seeing you, choosing you, wanting you with the kind of certainty you've been craving. The outcome depends entirely on whether their obsession is about you or about what you represent to their emptiness. Let me be direct about what you might need to do when this move happens. First, don't feel obligated to match their intensity just because they've been carrying it in silence. Their feelings are theirs to manage, not yours to reciprocate out of guilt or politeness. Second, trust your gut about whether this feels safe. Obsession can be flattering, but it can also be warning. If someone's attention makes you feel seen, that's one thing. If it makes you feel hunted, that's entirely different. And you're allowed to enforce boundaries even when someone's feelings are genuine, especially when someone's feelings are too intense for you to hold safely. Third, decide quickly whether you're interested in exploring this or shutting it down. Don't leave them in ambiguity if you know your answer. That's not kindness. That's just avoiding discomfort at their expense. If you're interested, be clear about pace, about what you can offer, about what you need to feel safe as this intensity finds its equilibrium. If you're not interested, be clearer. Don't soften the no so much it sounds like maybe. Don't leave hope where none exists. Clean cuts heal better than prolonged uncertainty. You remain in complete control of how you respond to someone's revealed obsession. You can reciprocate or redirect. Explore or establish distance. Be flattered or be firm. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has activated awareness of specific people whose attention has felt unusually concentrated. Maybe curiosity about who this might be. Maybe unease about being watched without knowing. Maybe hope that someone you want is watching you this way. Whatever it is, honor it. Take what resonates. Softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If you discovered someone had been obsessed with you in silence, would your first instinct be to move toward them or away? Drop it in the comments. And this, what's the difference between someone who desires you and someone who's obsessed with you? They are watching you in silence, obsession and desire building, and a move they didn't plan to make is coming. And when it arrives, you'll have to decide if this intensity is intoxicating or invasive. If being wanted this much is the gift you've been hoping for, or the burden you never asked to carry. Their silence is about to shatter, their watching is about to become acting, and your response will determine whether this becomes connection or just another story about someone who confused wanting you with actually knowing you. Not eventually, soon, maybe already in motion. Trust yourself with this. Trust that You can discern between desire that honors you and obsession that consumes you. Trust that being wanted intensely doesn't obligate you to reciprocate. Trust that you're allowed to protect yourself even from someone whose feelings are genuine. See you in the next one. And listen, someone watching you from shadows doesn't give them rights to you in light. Their obsession is their experience. Your response is your choice. Stay aware, stay boundaried, stay safe in your power.